Hello, fiber friends. Welcome to another episode of the Knit, Knot, and Weave podcast. My name is Dorothy, and I come to you from Columbia, Maryland. Today is January 5th, 2023. Nope, it is January 5th, 2024. That's going to take me probably about another month to remember. Anywho, this is my little corner of the YouTube where I share my fibery adventures. Sometimes it's knitting, sometimes it's crocheting, a little bit of yarn diving. Not diving. Gosh, could you imagine yarn diving? Wouldn't that be something? Yarn dyeing and some weaving. And if this is something that you are into as well, then welcome to the crazy. So this episode is not a normal episode. This is a goodbye to 2023 and hello to 2024. So if you are new, this is not my normal episode. And if you are a returning viewer, welcome back. I so appreciate you coming to visit me. You can find me on Instagram as Knit, Knot, and Weave, and you can find me on Ravelry as Phelia, Pheelya. So, without further ado, grab a cuppa, grab something to knit on, and let's get started. So hello friends. Like I said, this is not a normal episode. I will be sharing some of my stats from 2023, and then I will be sharing my plans and some of my goals for 2024. At least my goals in relation to fibery adventures. So first, let's go over my stats. 2023 was not the best year for me. I've had, like many of you know, if you are returning viewers, I had issues with a severely sprained wrist that really put the kibosh on a lot of my knitting and crocheting. And then I had some sciatic issues, which was an ordeal in and of itself. And then I had a bout of depression that really affected how I did things or what I did. And that is neither here nor there. It's just a part of my life, and I need to learn to deal with it a little bit better. So let's go on to stats. In 2023, I managed to complete 8 headbands, this being one of them, 11 hats, 12 pairs of socks, 6 shawls, 5 sweaters, and 1 blanket. In total, my yardage out was 21,957 yards. A little bit less than last year. I don't remember exactly what my stats are for last year. But if you would like to figure out your yardage for the year, I do this through Ravelry. Obviously, if you don't use Ravelry, you would have to track it on your own somehow. But if you use Ravelry and you use the tag for the year, tag all your projects that you've made in a year, you can then search your projects by that year. It will show you all your projects, and at the very bottom it will tell you the yardage that you've used. And that's how I managed to track my yardage. And so now for 2024, I'm hoping to improve those stats. The first thing I would like to do for this month is participate in Cocktail Hour at the Coop. They are a podcast, and they always run a new to you mail for the month of January where you try something new. And it doesn't necessarily have to be knitting related or crochet related, just anything that is something you want to try that you've never tried before and you would like to try. So my new to me mal is, although I have been crocheting for a while, I have never crocheted myself a garment. So I am hoping to crochet myself a granny square top. Not granny square, but a granny top, which I will talk about later on in this podcast. So that's for January. Now for the rest of the year, let's see where this goes, right? So first, one of my goals is to definitely shop more from my stash. I have done a lot of purchasing the last couple of years, and my stash is a little overwhelming to me. And I think it makes me, I don't know how to say this. When you have so many options, you don't know where to start. And I know that sounds really bad. I know I am very, very lucky to have the stash that I have, to have the expendable income to purchase the yarn that I have purchased. But I would like to start using more of that yarn this year and purchasing less. I have some house projects I need to save up money for, so I really should not be spending money on yarn this year. I would like to say I'm going to do a no buy this year, but I also know myself. I will try, right? Nothing beats a failure but a try. I will try to do a no buy year, but I'm not 100% confident that's going to last. So, before I purchase yarn for a project, my goal is to go through all of my stash and see if I have something on hand that I might be able to use. And if I do, I would like to use it. If I have something on hand that I might need one more skein of, then I would use that and purchase just that one skein. It's better to purchase one skein and use the 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7 that are already in my stash than to purchase a whole quantity's worth for a project. That's my reasoning, at least. That's what I'm hoping to have in the back of my head every time I want to start a new project. So along with that, my other goal is to be much more mindful of what yarns I purchase. I know I have a lot of fingering and sock weight yarn, so I should not be purchasing any of that, hopefully, but we shall see. Another goal that I have for this year is I need to go through my whole yarn stash. It's been a while since I have gone through and organized it. And like I said, I've done a lot of purchasing the last few years. Not everything has made it up into my Ravelry stash. Yes, I pretty much keep my Ravelry stash up to date, or I try to, I should say, obviously, since I'm saying that I haven't really been up to it for 2 years, I haven't done a great job of it. So that's one of the reasons why I need to go through my stash. Another reason is that there have been times where I have pulled things out for a project and changed my mind, or the gauge didn't work out, or I found something better, or maybe I took out 3 or 4 different colors to see which one I liked, and sometimes they didn't always make it back into the right bin. So I definitely need to go through my yarn stash, and I'll be going through it in chunks. Let me know if you would like to see a video of me going through and organizing my yarn stash. I'm happy to do that. It will take a while. It will be done in chunks, but I am happy to do that and share that with you guys if that's how you would like to, if you would like to see it, I guess I should say. If you have a large stash, I am really curious as to how you organize your stash. Do you organize by color? Do you organize by weight? Do you organize by weight and then color? Do you organize by dyer, or I don't know, however else you might figure out your stash and how it works for you. I'm very curious as to how other folks organize their stash and how they house everything in their areas. I watch a lot of YouTube, a lot of I could speak. I watch a lot of yarnie podcasts, and it always interests me when they have all their yarn in the background, and I'm always afraid of doing that because of moths. In Maryland, we also have stink bugs, and I believe they eat yarn. I don't even know what else. I'm guessing carpet beetles do. I don't know how often we would get carpet beetles in Maryland. I haven't a clue, but that's always one thing that always concerns me about leaving my stash out. So let me know how you do it and how you keep all the moths and the insects and the fibery eating critters away from your yarn. One of my goals for this year is I would like to try and weave one project a month. And I would like to try and make one pair of socks for myself a month. Now, the sock one was my goal last year as well. Unfortunately, that dropped off in April when I hurt my wrist, and I didn't really pick it back up. I sort of lost my sock mojo after that. But in a roundabout way, I did make the goal of making 12 pairs of socks. Just 9 of them went to family members at Christmas. And that only got done because Aquila managed to crank out my Christmas skeins for me. So all I had to do was put on heels, toes, and cuffs. But it got done. Let's see. I have all my notes here for you guys. Another one is I need to go through all my whips again. I have projects that I can't find. I know I have projects that I have not finished from the last time I shared all my whips with you guys, and I think I really need to rethink the finish it or frog it for a lot of those. I have a lot of projects that I've started this year that haven't been completed, and I think I just need to take an account of all of those and figure out what's going to get frogged and what's going to get finished. Let me know if you'd like to see an episode of that as well. If you'd like to see a whip parade, I may not want to do that. Who knows? Anyway, let me know. Oh, in regards to my works in progresses, there are two I definitely have to get done this year. I want to get my granny stripe blanket finished. I have, I think, about maybe another foot of stripes to do, and then the borders. Like I'm going to put more than one border on it. The border. So that's one thing I want to get done. If I could attempt to get it done while we what is up with me today? If I could manage to get the granny stripe blanket done before March, that would be fabulous. Because April is when you start to get warm weather here, and I will not want something that heavy on my lap. So I may need to start pulling that out and making that my morning knitting before I go to work. And the second blanket I have got to finish this year is the Tetris blanket. That is going to be a Christmas gift at the end of the year. If I manage to get it done sooner, it might be a birthday gift for somebody. And then I'd have to figure out something else for them for Christmas. But I know what else I could make them for Christmas, so that's good. This is good. It's January. I'm already thinking about Christmas gifts. Whew, blow my mind. Oh. Yikers, there are two things I have on my goal list to try and learn for this year. One is I really want to do a steeked cardigan. I've never done steeking, and I've never done a full colorwork cardigan. So that is on my list. And the second thing I really want to learn this year is how to do ladder back jacquard when I'm doing colorwork. I have a couple of hats I would like to make my brother-in-law, and being able to do ladder back jacquard for some of the colorwork in there, I think would be very helpful. Plus it makes like a doubly warm hat, which he appreciates. So those are my goals, my fiber goals for 2024. What are your goals? Do you have any fiber goals this year? Do you have any goals like mine? Are you looking to learn something new, like steeking a cardigan? Would you like to do it with me? I'm so scared. I know. I don't know why, but I am. Now, moving on. Something that's going to keep me going and keep me motivated and keep me moving throughout the year is I have decided to do a Make 9 board. So I have 9 different items that are on my Make 9 board, which is basically not exactly a to-do list, but things I would like to try to accomplish. So the first thing, here's a picture of my Make 9 board. Okay, I'm going to put it right here for you guys. I'm not going in any particular order. I'm just going to follow the pictures across as I explain to you what they are and what I want to do. So the first one is the Stockholm Slipover by Petite Knits. I had really wanted to do this year. I was hoping this was going to be my 2023 Christmas vest. That did not happen. So I am hoping that it will be my 2024 Christmas sweater. I've just noticed today, as I was putting everything together for this podcast, that she also has a V-neck version of this pattern. So now I don't know if I want to do the V-neck version or the crew neck version. But the pattern is $6.91 on Ravelry. I've already shared that I have 2 skeins of red lace yarn that's in my stash. And I have 2 balls of Ella Sequencicity. I don't think I said that right. Sequencicity yarn in ruby that I was going to hold with the silk, and I need to find a mohair or a Surrey alpaca to go with it. So that's another reason why I need to go through my stash. I'm not sure I have a red Surrey or mohair, but I do have some undyed in my stash. So if I need to, I can dye it up and make my Christmas sweater. Or I should say my Christmas vest. I already have the pattern for the crew neck, but I really like the V-neck. Decisions. If you had a choice, which would you do? Would you do the crew neck or the V-neck? So next up is the Glittering Snowscape Shawl, which is a Stephen West shawl. This is actually going to be a knit along in my knitting group. And hopefully it will not be a knit alone like so many of our other knit alongs have turned into. But the nice thing about this shawl is I also have the yarn for it in my stash. Now I brought 1 skein up, so it's going to be in these turquoisey blues. And this is by, oops, it's pulling out. This is yarn from Copper Corgi. And it's their Savannah Sock, which is 100% superwash merino. That's one thing I don't understand. Why do dyers name a base sock when there's no nylon in it? You can't really, I mean, you could use it for socks if you were going to add a nylon thread and hold it double. But why when there's already yarn out there that has nylon already in it to dye up? I know, I went off on a tangent. But that is something that really bugged me, because when I first started making socks, I bought a whole lot of yarn that was called sock. Like Malabrigo sock, Madeline Tosh sock, Savannah sock. And none of them have nylon in it. And that's another reason why I need to go through my stash. I need to go through and I need to separate out all those fingering yarns and sock yarns so that I can really see how many pairs of socks I have to look forward to in my future. I know. So the glittering snowscape shawl is $8.02 on Ravelry. It calls for 5 different colors. Most of them are in like a gradient of some form, and I'm pretty close to having a gradient once I find all the others in my stash, because like I said, I've moved things around, and so I haven't found the rest of my Savannah sock, but it says I have it on Ravelry, so I will find it all. And that's going to be started next week. I think we are starting it on January 9th. So I need to find those and get those caked up. Next is the Air Dance Top by Irina Anakiva. I hope I said that right. That pattern is $9.50 on Ravelry. I already have that pattern. That is the pattern that I was supposed to make a top for my mother, I believe last year. And that didn't happen. But I want it to happen this year. I want that to be maybe her Christmas gift. So I have the yarn for that as well. It's in my stash. It is and I can't think of it right now. Let me check and find out. Okay, that yarn is not in my Ravelry stash. So I was not able to find out, but I know I have the yarn and I know I've shared it in a previous episode. So that is hopefully something that's going to be on my needles soon. Next up, I have the Pure Comfort cardigan by Andrea Yetman, which I have actually already started. It was one of my Christmas cast-ons. And that is also a knit along that we were doing in my knitting group. So I used Malabrigo Arroyo that was in my stash. I had, I think it was something like 8 or 9 skeins of it that I bought when, what's the name of that place? It was a very well-known weaving place in Pennsylvania. The Mannings. Ooh, good brain. It was the Mannings. And when they were getting ready to close down, they had a huge sale on everything because they were looking to get rid of everything. And I bought several sweater quantities worth of yarn while I was there. I wasn't knitting sweaters at that time, but the price was right, so I bought a couple of sweater quantities worth. And so that started. So that is on my needles. Next is the Radari. And I know I am going to butcher this person's name. Vedis Yonsadir? Yeah, I am sure that is completely wrong. But they designed it for Istex, which is the company for Letlopi. And I have most of the yarn for that sweater. I am making that sweater for my father. And the main color is a red color because my father's favorite colors are red. And I believe I have the gray and the black, but I do need, it's either 2 or 3 skeins of white or cream to do the color work that's at the top of that sweater. So that unfortunately will have to be a purchase. I will need to buy 3 skeins of white or cream in Letlopi to make that sweater for him. Did I say the pattern is $6.50, which I already have. And I forgot to mention the Pure Comfort cardigan pattern is free. If you are not on Ravelry, you can look it up. It is on Biscotti Yarn. They have that pattern. It's their pattern, and you can download it for free. So the Radari, I already have, like I said, I already have the pattern for. I bought the pattern. I know my father is a size medium in sweaters because I nearly choked him trying to find the sweater size that he was wearing for Christmas. And I have most of the yarn for that. So let's move on. So number 6 on the Make 9 board is the Scrappy Granny Tee by Emily Marie Davis. And her pattern is $6.50. That is the tee that I want to make this month for the cocktail hour at the Coops New to You mail. I will be using scrap yarns. I'm thinking I have a lot of pinks and purples, so that might be the way to go. Or I know I have a couple of large cakes of a cotton yarn That's, I want to say, about 1,000 yards in the ball, or in the cake. And I think that'll be enough to do my size, but we'll see. But yeah, I need to get moving because I need to start that. And I did say how much it was, right? $6.50, in case I didn't. Number 7 is Big Love, and that's by Annick Strick. That pattern is $6.76. I have that pattern in my library. I bought it either the last 3 months, sometime in the last 3 months, because I was going to try and cast that on and have that done for me for Christmas, but that didn't happen either. But I do have the stash. Well, I do have the stash, but I am using yarn from my stash. I'm using Queensland Uruguay Chunky. I have it in both black and navy blue that I purchased many, many moons ago off of Little Knits websites. So I know I have enough to make the cardigan. I just need to decide if I want it in black or navy blue. And I'm thinking it'll probably be black. And then I'll probably be blind. But it's big yarn, so hopefully it won't be that bad to knit with black yarn that's thick. Next up, I want to make the Coffee Run Collar by Samantha Gurin. And that pattern is $8 on Ravelry. I already have that pattern because I had planned to make it last year, and that did not happen. I am looking to make it with a skein of Miss Babs Yowza that I have in my stash. It's a cranberry, raspberry-ish kind of color. I actually had attempted to use that yarn in another project, and it's definitely a more pinkish leaning yarn, but when it was with the green color that I was using for a shawl, it looked very murdery, grinchy colors, and it didn't work. So it's already caked up, so I want to use it. And then last, number 9 is the Cory Poncho, written by Amy Palco. And that pattern is $6.65. I am going to be using stash yarn for that. I have 3 skeins of Prairie Lake Alpaca hand dyed, which is a 50-50 blend of Surrey alpaca and merino. I believe it is a non-superwash yarn. I had purchased it at the Alpaca Fiber Festival a number of years ago. And I had purchased 2 skeins of it, and my friend Karen had purchased 1 skein of it. And, oh gosh, I want to say a couple of years ago, she gave me her skein because she decided she was never going to make anything with it. So I have 3 skeins of it, and I think that's 750 yards. Maybe a little bit more. I don't know why I feel like there's something in my living room that I'm allergic to. My nose is suddenly getting all stuffy. Tangent, sorry. But I should have enough of that Surrey merino to make the Cory Poncho. Let's hope so. And that about wraps up my goals. My fibery goals for 2024, my Make 9 board for the year. I reserve the right to change my mind on any of those items. As we all know, patterns come in and out all the time. New patterns get designed and new patterns get released, and life happens. So although I have 7 sweaters on my Make 9 board, 6 sweaters, 1 poncho, and 1 shawl. That's doable, right? I'd say that's doable. Yes, Dorothy, think positively. That is doable. That is doable in a year. Keep telling myself that, right? Along with 1 pair of socks a month and 1 weaving project a month. Yes, it's doable. It's doable, Dorothy. So, let's get you caught up on life stuff. Christmas is over. As you can see, I still have my Christmas stuff out over here because in my family, we don't take our Christmas stuff down until after the little Christmas happens, which is January 6th, which is tomorrow. And in our Italian tradition, the Epiphany is called La Befana, which is the story of a older woman, technically a witch, and she goes around because she missed out on the opportunity to assist with the baby Jesus. So she goes around and leaves packages and little things for girls and boys around Italy, and she leaves them in their shoe. And if I can find something that explains it, I will insert it here or something. But I grew up on that tradition, and even though I don't have any little ones in my house, we still abide by it. Or I still abide by it since I'm the only one here. But my sister does it. She was going to have dinner, but then COVID hit her house. And so it didn't really happen. School is back in session. I am already looking forward to spring break. Actually, what I'm really hoping for, and I know a lot of you are probably going to be shouting at me when I say this, but I'm really hoping for a good snowstorm. Looking for a good snowstorm because our county has already decided that we are going to have virtual days when that happens. They will be called ahead, and if a snowstorm happens that would keep us out for a couple of days, that first day would probably be an emergency snow day, and then the rest of the days we would go virtual. And you know what? If I don't have to waste gas and drive into work, I am all for it. I think a good snow day is a good snow day no matter what, whether you're a kid or an adult. Believe me. Don't let anybody tell you differently. Teachers look forward to those snow days just as much, if not more, than the kids do. What else can I share with you? My gym is doing a new challenge for the year. It's actually doing 2 new challenges. I don't know why I did. Makes it look like 4. No, 2 new challenges. One they're doing for the first 2 months, where we are going to start tracking our food and tracking our macros. So I joined that one because I definitely need a little bit of help of getting back into weighing and measuring and seeing what a portion is for items. The last couple of months I have done a lot of eating out or, takeout foods. And unfortunately, that isn't so great for the waistline. And I'm up a little bit. So I'm doing I signed up and I'm doing the macro challenge. And this weekend, I will be making a crock pot of chili one day. And then I will be making a crock pot of chicken and vegetable stew. Sunday, I will be making my high protein overnight oats so that I can grab one to go and have breakfast every morning. And then with those 2 meals made, half of them will go in the freezer so that they don't spoil. And with a couple of other things here and there, I should be able to get all my macros for the day. Most important macro for me to hit is protein. Second would be fats. And for me, the last would be carbs. It's going to be a whole new mindset for me to allow myself to eat carbs again. There's been that whole big, carbs are bad, carbs are this, carbs are that, and eating potatoes and rice, I have not done on a regular basis in a long time. Breads, I don't buy them. They're not in my house to eat, but I eat bread when I go out. That's not a good thing either. So I'm looking forward to doing that and getting back on track. And the hardest thing for me is going to be tracking the food, is remembering to go into the app and putting in everything that I eat in a day. But I need to do that. And then the second challenge is going to be a more long-term challenge. Like if you want to lose a lot of weight, or if you are looking to lose inches, or if you are looking to really change the physique of a certain part of your body. I haven't decided what I want that to be for me. I will probably take some time to really think about it, see where Macro Stacks takes me, and counting my macros, and then coming up with a more long-term goal as for what I want to do in that challenge. I'd really like to be able to do floor presses with 44-pound kettlebells, but that's not enough for me because I'm already at 40, so I know I'll be able to do that on my own. So I need to come up with something big, something that's going to take me a couple of months to do. And I am still on my quest to get my house under order. I've slid back a little in my living room, but it's not too bad, but I definitely need to start moving stuff around and throwing stuff out again. And I still have to finish up my craft room, which is why I've been podcasting in my living room lately, because as I move stuff out of areas, my craft room has become the dumping ground, and I really want my craft room back. So my craft room might be my spring break project because it's going to take me a little while. And that is all I have for this episode. Let me know, like I said, let me know in the comments if you would like me to record going through my stash, organizing my stash, if you would like to see an episode of me going through all my whips again. That should be fun. Let me know what your goals are for this year. I'd love to hear what you have in mind. And if you have enjoyed this video, then please be sure to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button so you won't miss out on any future video content. It really helps my channel so much when you do that. Whenever you leave me a comment, it makes me smile. It helps my channel grow. Please know how much I appreciate you being here, being with me, and being a part of this community. So with that, please be safe. Please give someone you love a hug. Look out for your neighbors, especially if you are in areas that have lots of snow. Be sure to check on your elderly neighbors. Give them a hand with shoveling. And I will see you in 2 weeks. Ciao, ciao.